Okay, good. So, um, welcome everybody. This is going to be maybe the first presentation in this series of online presentations that are part of this lockdown that we are living due to COVID-19. In today's meeting, I'm going to do three big things. First, I would love to walk you through some of the opportunities and challenges that lie within this electronic education, or what you call distance learning. Number two, I would love to share with you what I think are the most important characteristics of an effective lesson to be used during this distance learning. This hopefully will help you deliver better lessons after having watched some of the lessons that you have posted in your platforms. The purpose of that would be to unify, if you would like to unify the strategy of what it takes to deliver an effective online lesson. Number three, it's a bit technical. I will walk you through the steps you need to follow. I know that so many of you maybe are familiar with that, but let's take it that we would love to address everyone. It's about the steps you need to follow to transform a lesson you have on as a PDF or a PowerPoint presentation, which is your lesson, and how we can transform that PowerPoint presentation or a lesson into a video that you can share with your learners, with you explaining and accounting for things and making things clear and so on. So great. First thing first, this is the menu of the first presentation. As I told you, I will walk you through the important things about challenges and opportunities that lie within this distance learning. How to turn PowerPoint presentation into a video, and then the structure of a recorded lesson. So this is the menu, this is the roadmap of what you have to expect from today's presentation. To start with the definition, I know that so many of you know this. But just to remind you, just to unify the vision of it, distance learning or education means what? It's just teaching and learning, utilizing or using electronic technologies to access education curriculum outside the traditional classroom. So as you can see, we're moving from a traditional classroom setting into distance learning. This shift is not easy for everybody, for both the teacher, the learner, for the parents, for the supervisor, for everybody. This concept of recording a lesson, posting it on a platform, this allows a kind of accessibility to that lesson to be 24 out of 7, to be all the time for the learner. Can go back to that lesson at any time they would love to. So this joins this idea of working on what is synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is when you deliver the lesson immediately, just like I'm doing now. If I share the link with you through Zoom and then you watch me as I deliver the lesson, that's synchronous. Asynchronous is when I share the link with you and then you can see my presentation at your own ease, at your own comfort. Some of the opportunities that this education has for us as teachers is that it's an alternative to traditional teaching. And this is a challenge in itself. Okay? And again, this distance learning opens a lot of resources. You can share a video, you can share pictures, you can go live, you can use Realia, you can use different resources that are handy that you can use with your learner when you are delivering that lesson. It promotes also this idea of accessibility. You can access the learner at any time. And actually, that this is the most important one, this one in here, it's with electronic education or distance learning, we are stepping into the world of the learner. That is where the learner is, okay? We're stepping into where the learner is actually, so that we, the learners actually, they are in WhatsApp, they are in Instagram, they are on Facebook. See, so when you step into the world, it's as if you help them learn better. And hopefully this is the situation we are living now worldwide. Again, when you teach using that, it's you're using a kind of I'm sorry, when you teach using that, you appeal to different learning styles of the learner and also to different intelligences. And this is very, very important. Okay. Some of the challenges we face, and these challenges I divide them into two subcategories. The first subcategory is technical. Okay. Technical problems that you have in here. Not all of you, and not all teachers worldwide, not only here in Morocco, not all of us, if you would love to, do have expertise in the use of ICT, information communication technology. We're learning. We're learning from each other. We're learning from our experiences. We're trying things maybe for the first time. So take it easy. Be confident. Step by step, you're learning a lot of things at technical level in here. So you're not only a teacher, you're a technician that manipulates some tools and utensils and the stuff. The second one, it promotes inequity, and that's also another problem. Not all the students nowadays in Morocco and worldwide have access to the internet connection. Not everyone has got a mobile. Not everyone has got a laptop. Not everyone can afford, if you would love to, the allowances of the internet connection. So this is something we have to bear in mind. Lucky if you are within the category social class that can access, that can afford those facilities. The internet connection is unreliable. Sometimes you start something, then there is a loss of service, and then you end up losing the track of what you've been doing. And of course, as you might see, it is extra expenses for parents. Pedagogically speaking, and this is where I would love to stay for a minute, there is no face-to-face interaction. So when I give a lesson, the class is not there, but I have to imagine as if it is there. So one way to make up for this inefficiency, I will explain, I will share with you when I walk through this, the chronology of a lesson that I have to prepare. So there are things I have to change. I'm teaching people who are not there in front of me. So I have to make up for this, to compensate for this absence of people in front of me. I have to change my pedagogy and didactics, if you would like to. I have to use other tools that can appeal for the people who are not in front of me. An online recorded lesson, again, an online recorded lesson, it's not like a face-to-face. This is what I'm just talking about. Psychologically, pedagogically, I have to think about this. In terms of management constraint, again, look at that. That's important. In terms of management, I don't know who is following and who is not, who is paying attention, who is not. I will help when I talk about the characteristics of an effective lesson. I will help you deal with some of these pedagogical hang-ups. Let's start. And I'm moving now to the second part of today's presentation. Excuse me. Excuse me for this technical problem. Right. So generally, we have to start by greeting, just like when we teaching students in class, in normal class, we have to start by greeting. We've got even to work on this, and that's important. We've got to comfort these kids psychologically. These kids are going through a hard time, like everybody. We're living in an exception era. This is unprecedented. This is the first time we start using this distance learning. So the kids are lost, especially those who are at the certificate level, be it either third grade, middle school, or baccalaureate first year and second year. They need to be psychologically comfortable. And who can help that? It's the teacher. So please take 1 minute or two, comfort them first. Talk about their worries, empathize, put yourself in their shoe and talk about the problem. Admit that the problems are real, then help them solve that out. Having done that psychological comfort, you got to do something to catch their attention. You can tell a joke, you can tell about an event that is an update about COVID-19, whatever. You say, for example, you say, hey class, did you hear that in Italy people are da 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 da, and you move, you just, yeah, tell them something that can grab their attention. And if this is not your first lesson, I suppose not all of them are first lessons, that you have to start with a review. A review, because when you teach lesson 1 and 2, there must be a link between lesson 1 and 2 and 3 so that you're teaching within one unity, within one curriculum. Important step is sharing with them learning objectives. It's so important in here. Okay, say, hey class, by the end of the lesson, I would love you to, if I'm teaching a vocab item, I would love you to be able to use this grammatical structure to do this and this. If I'm reading, if it's a learning lesson, I would love you to be able to talk about this theme, learn some vocab items and so on. And then, having shared the objective, then you move on to explain, hey class, I want you to do, when I'm giving this lesson, at this specific time of the lesson, I want you to do this. You see what I mean? What do you expect them to do during the lesson? Okay, I want you to take 1 minute to answer this exercise, and then you can give them, I don't know, maybe some time to do the lesson or to do the exercise, sorry. And you have also to be clear, what do you want them to do after the class? Okay, hey class, when I finish this lesson, there will be a couple of exercises to do at home and get back to me by this specific deadline. This is what are we doing here? You're making it clear, what do you want them to do after the class? So that you share this roadmap. I'm teaching this. What I want you to do with this material that I'm teaching today. And then every lesson has got obstacles and has got challenges and difficulties. This is what I mean by prerequisites. Prerequisite is, it's simply those things that can block you from giving an effective lesson. Let's take an example. Suppose you're teaching a reading lesson, and during that text, there are words that might be beyond the level of understanding of the kids. So what do you need to do? Pre-teach them. Don't wait until you give them the lesson, the reading text, and then a lot of complaints coming from here and there, and then the lesson might turn into a fiasco. Pre-teach those items, because you know that when they come to those words, they cannot guess their meaning from the context. If you're teaching a grammatical structure and you know that this grammatical structure is related to some other grammatical structure that was seen before, let's make an example. You're teaching passive voice and you know for sure that they need the past participle. So I will start by checking that at the beginning before I start teaching passive voice. I'm not going to wait until I teach passive voice and then all of them say, oh, what is that? What's that? Cater for that before the problem comes. This is what I mean by being proactive. You envisage the challenge that they will have and you cater for them before they come. And again, look at that. And that's a pedagogical requirement of a successful lesson. An effective teacher would always prepare these kind of questions. What I mean by concept check questions. What I mean by concept check questions is that, excuse me, whatever I teach, be it a vocab item or grammatical structure, I have to make sure that they understood what I'm talking about. And one way to make sure that they understood, give you feedback, is using these concept check questions. Generally, they are a true-false statement that we give. Suppose I teach a word like, I don't know, maybe biotechnology, and then you ask them, after you have explained the word with either pictures or video or whatever, you ask them concept question like, do you think this okay, you would just say, I will give you a statement and you say whether they are true or false. Say, biotechnology is related to a link between science and technology. Is that true or false? If they say it's true, it means that they have grasped part of the sentence. Number two, say, biotechnology has nothing to do with science. If they say yes, they don't understand what you're talking about. Things like these. And these concept check questions are things that we prepare during the lesson plan. When I watched some of the lessons that you posted on the platform, I've noticed that some of you would just go and read the lesson through from the beginning till the end. You don't make halts, I'm sorry. You don't make halts. What I mean by halt is just stop, a pause. Just like this one. You explain something, you pause. This gives time for the learner to process what you have talked about. Practice exercises. This is very important. Please don't give a lesson, whatever you're teaching, without providing some practice. And this practice can be a couple of exercises that are related to what you have taught so that the learners can work on that in your absence. And then they have to submit that to you in due time. Personalizing or personalization is just when you relate what you're teaching to the lives of the learner. And this is a very important thing you can use. Vary content, vary in the sense of, the class. Varying, this is a catering for differentiated pedagogy. Vary the degree of difficulty so that a very good student can answer. You give middle, average exercise that the difficulty is a bit average so that those who are average can understand. And then you give also very simple exercises so that everyone gets a kind of achievement, a sense of achievement. Modeling, what I mean by this is that whatever exercise you give, sacrifice the first sentence as a model. That's important. It's as if you show them, after you give clear instruction, you show them, this is how you are supposed to proceed. Ask a lot of questions. If you remember at the beginning of the presentation, I talked about what is it as a tool that I have that can recompensate for the absence of the student in front of me. One way to make sure that the students are following you, are with you from the beginning till the end, is that we have to ask questions. A lot of questions are needed. And after you ask a question, please give them some think time, or what you call wait time. And this is related to halts, just like the one I gave you now. Very important. Move slowly. Give them time to digest what you're talking about. Coherence is related to the planning of the lesson. So that activity A paves the way to B. B prepares to C. And C paves the way to D, which is a concluding. So there must be a link. So that when you walk the student through the lesson, they know that this activity paves the way to this and this and this. You're teaching in a unity system. And please try the best you can to provide practice and homework. This is related to something I talked about earlier in here. And when you provide homework, it can take the form of an exercise. It can be a project that they have to submit in due time. Project like a PowerPoint presentation or something. It does not all the time have to be an exercise to do. It can be a project. And you may even ask them to work in groups of 2 or 3. And this helps collaboration. With this said, what I have done up to now is that I talked about some of the challenges that lie within distance learning, challenges and opportunities, of course. Then I walked you through what I think, or what I deem, or I believe are the most important features of an effective online lesson. Now I'm going to move on to part number 2, which is, it's a bit technical. How can I turn a PowerPoint presentation lesson into a video to share with my class? A video, which means I will be there with my voice explaining the lesson and record that and share the link with the learners, especially if you would love to put it in, if you want to upload it on YouTube. Okay. So allow me 1 minute to access the material that I would love to work on. Okay, I think this is it. So imagine this is the lesson that I have prepared and I want to share with the learner. first thing I'm going to do is I will go to here, Diaporama, click, and I will go to this part in here. What do you have in there? You have register the slides. You click on that. You go down to the second option, which means I would love the recording to start from the slide where I am now. And then you click on that. And then ask you the question in a window dialog, say, do you want to start now? You say, yes, I would love to. And then you start recording. And as soon as you click on that, technically speaking, if you go to the left side of your screen, you can see that we've already started recording the lesson. Very good. And then you go through the content of your lesson, depending on what we're teaching, slide after slide, and then explain. Take the time you need to account for everything you're presenting. Then you move on to the next, and the next, and maybe on to the next, until you finish. And when you finish, you go into here again. You go to the document, you click on that, and you go to this. Save as, if you're using the English versions, save as. You click on that, and then it gives you the chance. Where do you want to be or to save the document? Either on your desktop or your document or special docs, whatever. Maybe I'm going to choose on the desktop. Okay. And then you have the name of the lesson, which you can change depending on the level, whatever. And then you click here so that you make it clear what format do you want the lesson to be recorded in. And then you go down and you look for, I know that every versions of Window have different versions of videos. You can look, you have MP3, you have Vimeo, we have, I don't know, FLV, we have a lot of extensions of video. Look at where do we have a video in here? I guess in my laptop for the time being, I have it in here, video, MPEG4. I click on that and I will say register. Okay. So what did I do? I clicked on document, save as, click on the place where I would love the document to be in, and I choose the format, a video. Then if I go to the desktop, I will certainly find the presentation as it is recorded. It is here. Okay. Now that I have this video in here, I don't know if I can walk you through the steps you would love to follow in order to move to upload this video to YouTube. Okay. This is it. Allow me 1 minute. I can walk you through that. It's very important. I will go to YouTube. Very good. Nice. I am in here. I go to this plus in here. I click on that and you say upload the video. It depends on the quickness or the sloth of your, okay. And then select the file. And it asks you, where's the file in your laptop? I put it in here on my desktop. And then I scroll down. And I will see where the document is. Okay, here it is. I will click twice. And then it is being uploaded. Of course, it depends on the service of connection you have. It's quick, then it depends. You have to wait for some time. Okay, then you move on to next. And it gives you a kind of parameters that you have to set. Example, like, do you want this video to be watched by kids? So, because YouTube is a bit careful as to the type of videos that are being uploaded to the YouTube. So you would say yes for me, because the purpose is educational. So I don't see any harm if the kids watch the video. So I will tick on that and it's okay. Then you say next, and then it tells you, how do you want the video to be? Do you want it to be public? For me, it depends. If you would like to keep it private, you may keep it private, but for me, because it's education, I would say, make it public. Having set those parameters related to kids and related to being private or public, then I say publish. When it's done, then it gives you this option again. Do you want to share this video of yours to Facebook or something? They say, I don't need to, because it's not necessary. Then, as you might see, here is the video that I have just uploaded. If I click on that, excuse me, if I click on that, then it is going to open. Here is the video I have just. If you go to the left side of your, very good. So here is what I would like to share. You go here, copy and paste, and then you post it on the platform in the part reserved to URL. The link you paste, you could copy this link in here that I have selected. You paste it on the URL link, and then you share with the learner. So with this said, I hope you've learned something. I will be open to your queries and questions on WhatsApp group, so that if you have any more questions, you're welcome. So with this said, thank you so much, everybody, and stay safe. May God Allah keep you safe and give you the serenity and the courage that you need to continue working as an effective teacher. Thank you. Have a good night.